Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
I was looking at some of the highlights 10 years ago when I played and won, and I just thought, gosh, I wish I had known then what I know now about nutrition.
It's with great pride that I say, even though we didn't have teams in the championship from South Carolina, we had dynamic players that represented us well last night, and I wanted to call that to the attention of the Senate.
That was indeed one for the ages last night. How about that? What a finish. And the South Carolina kid put the final dagger in the backs of the Blue Bellies. Couldn't have been happier. Could not have been. See, even though I picked the Tar Heels to win on my bracket and on the airwaves, so thus I'm rooting against myself. I really put myself in a quandary because, I mean, when I make a prediction, when I make a pick, I want it to come true. But these are the despised and hated Tar Heels. So I really could not throw my personal emotional support behind them. Thus, I was pleased. You, sir?
Sort of satisfied, but I thought, it was interesting. North Carolina, as I said before, got seduced into playing Villanova's game. I mean, I think they made 27 shots. 11 of those shots, almost half, were three-pointers. And you got those horses underneath the basket, you had to go to them. Chris Jenkins, as always, gets in foul trouble. They may have fouled him out early not to hit the last shot if they kept going inside. But they got seduced. They hit the first few threes to North Carolina, and they started falling in love with it, and it cost them. But again, Villanova, just like against Georgetown, 30-something years ago, played such an efficient game, Phil.
Yeah.
They only had 2 offensive rebounds, but they didn't need but 2 offensive rebounds when you shoot almost 60% from the floor.
Tell you what, they started the tournament hot. They finished the tournament hot. And, surprisingly, they outscored the Tar Heels in the paint. I really thought that would be where the Tar Heels would live. They obviously didn't. But still, there was a back-and-forth game. Each team had leads, and they were able to recover and catch up. And it did come down to the last possession and a defensive error by North Carolina. Terrific play run by Villanova. Listening to Jay Wright describe it, it's something they practice all the time because Jenkins is the inbounder. He trails coming down the floor, and typically the inbounder, whether it's on the sideline court or going down the court, is forgotten about. And he was left open, and he got into the vision of Archie, and Archie hit him. And, boy, picture-perfect form on that jumper.
Well, the problem with that was they didn't get into the dribbling. You get into the dribbling because now what you want to do is run clock out.
Oh, yeah.
Let him just go down the floor.
Definite defensive mistakes by North Carolina on that last possession coming down the floor. All right. We have got plenty other stuff, Masters and football stuff, coming up your way here tonight on Sports Talk. Okay, busy night once again here on Sports Talk. A lot of stuff going on. Glad we can bring it all to you. If you want to join us and talk about last night's game, 800-956-7266 is the phone number. Email talkback@sportstalksc.com and on Twitter @sportstalksc. The website is sportstalksc.com. And on Facebook, you can go there and you can just not only like us, you can love us on Facebook at Sports Talk Radio Network there on Facebook. Coming up, USC football practice. K-Mac is out at practice, so we'll have him in here a little bit later on. He'll have post-practice interviews for us. Lorenzo Nunez not practicing today. They might as well just hold him out the rest of the way, unless they feel like that that knee is sound enough and good enough to go on out for a couple of more days of work. But at this point, if he's not able to go, you might as well just hold him out the rest of the way. So we've got that coming your way tonight. Plus, we've got information and coverage on the Masters. Golfers, of course, in Augusta getting ready for the Masters, teeing off on Thursday. We're going to hear from defending champion Jordan Spieth and also from Phil Mickelson. Have that for you tonight here on Sports Talk. If you've been out to practice rounds yesterday and today, let us know how it feels out there. I imagine it was a little chilly walking the fairways of Augusta today, especially with that breeze blowing. Up in New York, the Yankees opened their season with a loss to Houston, 5-3, first of a doubleheader. But it was the actual temperature felt like 20 degrees. And those people were bundled up like they were at a Giants game. That's tough, but that's what happens sometimes. In April, we got a funny little system moving through, and it's made things a little bit chilly in various parts of the country. So we've got all that coming your way. Also, USC golf coach Bill McDonald will join us. The Gamecocks won the Hooties tournament down at Bulls Bay. We'll tell you more about that in a moment. Keeping an eye on baseball tonight. Several teams around the state are playing, including Clemson and USC. The Tigers, 7 o'clock start at Foley Field in Athens against Georgia. Clemson 21-7, Georgia 17-12. This will be on the SEC Plus network, or SEC Network Plus, I guess is how it's titled. And the Tigers are going to send out Alex Bostic, left-hander, to face left-hander Kevin Smith of Georgia. So that one will have a 7 o'clock first pitch. USC and Coastal Carolina. This should be a very good game. Coastal having a good year at 20-9, USC 24-5, but coming off a lost weekend at Vanderbilt. The Gamecocks 2-3 in their last 5. Coastal 5-0 in their last 5, and 5-1 in the Big South. So a good start there. It'll be Taylor Widener for USC tonight, junior right-hander against Zach Hoppick, a sophomore right-hander for Coastal Carolina. As far as any major news to tell you about, don't really have much on this end. A couple of little notes. Well, I guess they're not that little. They can be significant. And one is that Michael Boynton is going to Oklahoma State to join that staff. So that takes him out of contention for a spot at South Carolina. This is all kind of interesting to me as an outsider looking at it. Lamont Evans leaving Frank Martin after 4 years after Martin received a contract extension. So you had security at South Carolina. Of course, you have security with Brad Underwood starting over at Oklahoma State. But which program is closer to making it to the NCAA tournament, Oklahoma State or South Carolina at this particular time? And why would Lamont Evans, up and leave Frank Martin after 4 years here, unless, as you suggested off air, maybe it was a significant pay increase?
Well, that's what I heard it was. It was significant
pay
raise.
But why wouldn't South Carolina step up and match it?
I don't know. Maybe they want to go in another direction as well. Who knows?
Why? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, Lamont's one of their, he's by all accounts an excellent bench coach, an excellent recruiter. I don't know. I don't get that. That one surprises me.
Sometimes it doesn't. You want a guy to better himself. If he goes, what can you do for me? And then sometimes you say, hey, well, maybe you better go because we want to look at something different. Who knows? It's not that you don't like what he's doing, but maybe you need to do something different. Who knows?
I still wonder. And then, I would have thought that, Frank Martin speaks highly of Michael Boynton, and this would have been a chance for Boynton to come back to his alma mater. And but again, maybe it's financial. Maybe it's the comfort level with Brad Underwood and everything they did at Stephen F. and just wanting to stay with him. So I'm a little bit surprised about both of those moves.
My feeling is this: Figger is your associate head coach, and I don't think Mike Boynton comes back here unless he's made associate head coach. If he doesn't have that position open, he's not going to take the third seat because he's been in it too long for him to do that. And he's got a wealth of experience.
One more note, former USC guard Larry Davis, who was an assistant coach at Newberry College, is going to James Madison, according to a report by Nick Sunderland, who covers James Madison basketball. He's going to James Madison to be the director of men's basketball operations, or director of basketball operations. So Larry Davis kind of climbing the ladder as well.
Now, is that the same conference that College of Charleston is in?
I think so. I think it's the Colonial. And let's see, what else I want to tell you. Other Major League Baseball game today. Red Sox won today. That just sort of put a little salt in the old wound after watching the Yankees blow a 2-0 lead. I tell you, the Astros are just one of those teams that it's like a bunch of gnats, just bother you. They just bother you. Houston beat the Yankees 5-3, scoring 3 in the 8th to break a 2-2 tie, and Boston wins 6-2 at Cleveland. Yankees and Astros will play a second game tonight. Mets leading Kansas City 2-0, top of the 7th of their game in KC. And the Braves will not lose tonight because they're the night off. So they're not gonna lose tonight. 800-956-7266 is the phone number. Let's go to the phones. And it's Hank in Columbia. Welcome into Sports Talk, Mr. Hank.
Hey, Phil. How's it going?
Good. How you doing?
All right. I was calling to give a comment. You were talking about Lamont Evans.
Yeah.
And I was listening on one of the other shows earlier today, and it had the Kerry Rich and some of the guys talking. And what the understanding was that Lamont was going to Oklahoma State. He was going to become Oklahoma State's recruiting coordinator, and almost like that, he would be like, I guess, that in that Matt Figure pay slot. And that's what a lot of people don't understand about basketball. Sometimes I think they see basketball coaches go, and it looks like, well, you're an assistant, and you're going from assistant to here. Well, it's a little different. It's kind of like when Don Staley named a boy or her associate head coach. It's that that different play slot that goes along with it.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. So
and
it's just
get a title, so it puts you in position to get to the next level.
It's just a better situation for him financially and professionally. Then.
Yeah, because you got to think if you're at that top assistant slot at Oklahoma State and where their basketball program is, then if you're aspiring at one time to get your own program, you're probably going to move quicker from that spot with a team that's that much in the spotlight.
That makes sense. But what about Michael Boynton moving on to Okie State and not coming to South Carolina or having that opportunity or looking into it?
Well, it'll probably help him because you got to think about it. If he's going, like Phil said, you're going from Stephen F. Austin State up to Oklahoma State. You just look at Texas A&M. 2 of their assistants were hired away from that staff. So the more higher profile, the better it's going to be for you if you have aspirations to be a head coach.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. We appreciate your phone call. 800-956-7266. Back in a moment. And we're back with you here on Sports Talk. We remind you, along with our friends from South Carolina Forestry Commission, that insects and diseases can be moved hundreds of miles in firewood and threaten our forests, favorite campsites, neighborhoods, state and national parks. Help protect the trees you love by purchasing firewood at or near where you burn it. For more information, visit don'tmovefirewood.org. Down to Charleston. Next up here on Sports Talk, Tim is on the air. Hello, Tim.
Hey.
How you doing?
I was good. I was pretty happy with the result last night. I was pulling for the underdog Villanova, although I didn't really think all year long. I watched a lot of their games. I didn't think they were an underdog. To me, I thought that they were deserving of a 1 seed instead of 2 ACC teams. But it was nice to see good execution on an end-of-game play, because it doesn't seem like nowadays you don't see too many good execution at the end of games. So it was nice to see a good, clean look and a great shot.
See, if I'm the coach, you're going to see ragged execution, because I'm going to make it ragged, because I'm going to get into your dribbler, because I know it's time to run the clock down to go into overtime, not let a guy have a clean dribble up to the half-court line. That was ridiculous by North Carolina.
Yeah. And it was also funny how they were showing how that guy got away with the walk, that Booth kid for Villanova, on that and one of those shots near the end of the game, and how Villanova had gotten screwed a couple years ago on a similar type situation where they said the basket was no good or something. And so that was neat. But another thing I wanted to say is I used to know Roy Williams on a personal level, playing golf with him years ago. And if you're a parent and watching the post-game conference, you got to be happy if you're sending your kid to North Carolina, seeing how much he cared about those kids. I mean, just seeing him in tears. And he just seems like he's such a good guy.
There's 3 guarantees that we have in this life. Those, of course, are death, taxes, and Roy crying at the end of a basketball season.
4 then.
What's the 4th?
It is death, taxes, Roy crying, and or Coach K crying at the end.
Nah, nobody cries like Roy. No, but I mean, he really. I tuned in after their press conference had already started, and he'd already given his opening comment, and I mean, he must have been bawling, because his face just looked droopy and red-eyed and tear-stained. And I get it. He loves his players, but you know what? Brad Brownell loves his players, and Frank Martin loves his players, and every coach loves most of his players. Not going to say all, but most, and they all hurt when they lose.
Right.
But I get it. Roy's an emotional guy. I think it's genuine. He's always cried, except for the time he told that reporter after I think Kansas lost, basically to go stick her microphone where the sun don't shine, when she asked him about North Carolina. But I've always liked Roy Williams. I think he's I want to believe he's an honest guy. I don't know. We'll find out when the NCAA lets us know. I can't believe that he said the other day, I can't believe he said in the interview leading up to the Final Four that the men's basketball program is totally innocent and totally clear and clean from all these allegations. It can't – I mean, they're pinning this thing on the women's basketball program for the most part, and I just can't believe that over the time period this occurred. We'll be right back. And we're back. Sports Talk South Carolina Radio Network. Coming up, coverage from the Masters. We'll hear from the defending champion Jordan Spieth. Also, Phil Mickelson. Coverage of USC's day on the practice field coming up as well. K-Mac is over there, and he'll be joining us, and we will have comments from whoever it is they bring forward to talk with the media today. We'll have our recruiting report coming up for you as well. 800-956-7266 is the number. Speaking of the Masters, our coverage will begin tomorrow night with the master of all Masters coverage, the great one, Don Williams, the godfather of Sports Talk. And our poll question on our website, sportstalksc.com, is who wins the Masters? And we've given you the choices of Jordan Spieth, Jason Day, Rory McIlroy, Dustin Johnson, Bubba Watson, Adam Scott, Phil Mickelson, and other. You can enter your own choice. And right now, it's Jason Day with 29% of the votes and Dustin Johnson with 20% of the votes. And as far as I always like to see who the write-ins are when we give the other option. And our write-ins are Ricky Fowler, Bagger Vance, and Jack Nicklaus. Now, Jack will hit a golf ball at 8:05 Thursday morning, but that'll be it for his duties. As far as the groupings, tell you about some of the top groupings that we have as announced today by Augusta National. And I'll do that in just a second.
Bagger was the caddy. He couldn't have won. What is he talking about?
Well, I know, but you know how people get a little crazy when they want to write in their own answers. They want to try to be cute. You know, everybody wants to be a comedian these days, all right?
I'd be rooting for Dustin Johnson, but I really have no dog in the fight. But I think it's his time. It just feels something.
Mm-hmm. It'd be great if he would win it. Absolutely. Let's see. The traditional honorary starters, Arnold Palmer, Gary Player, Jack Nicklaus. Now, Arnie's not going to hit a ball. He's just going to be out there. But Gary Player, Jack Nicklaus will at 8:05. And then looking at some of the other key tee times, they're all key. Don't get me wrong, but these are just ones that I picked out. Tom Watson will go off at 9:15 with Charlie Hoffman and Lee Westwood. Ricky Fowler will play with Zach Johnson and Ching Jin. And they'll go off at the 9:26. Spieth at 9:48 with Paul Casey and Bryson DeChambeau, the U.S. amateur champion. Dustin Johnson will play with Emiliano Grillo and Justin Thomas. They'll go off at 9:59. And Phil Mickelson at 10:43 with Mark Leishman and Henrik Stenson. Kevin Kisner with Adam Scott and Brooks Koepka. They'll tee off at 11:05. And let me see. Who else did I have highlighted here? Davis Love III will go off at 12:22 with Charles Schwartzel and Rafael Cabrera Bello. Bubba Watson at 12:44 with Brandon Grace and Ian Poulter. Matt Kuchar with Jason Day and Ernie Els. That's a great pairing. Day, Kuchar, and Els, they will tee off at 1:06 on Thursday. Graham McDowell at 1:17. And Sergio will tee off at 1:39. And Bill Haas will be in the last pairing of the day. And he'll play with Martin Keimer and Rory McIlroy. That's an excellent grouping. Keimer, Haas, and McIlroy, the last group of the day, going off at 2:01. Only 89 golfers in the field this year.
But what do you think? The weather, if it holds up like it is now, you would think you would prefer to tee off with an AM slot before the sun comes up and starts that wind starts to blowing.
Yeah.
I would think you want to play in the morning.
All right, we jump back to your phone calls, 800-956-7266. Bob in Williston, welcome into Sports Talk. How are you?
Good, Phil. Phil, I just got up off the floor when I fell out of the chair when you made that comment about Roy, waiting on old Roy to get the information from the NCAA to decide if he was dirty or not. You've got to be kidding, right?
Which part?
all the academic stuff that's happened at North Carolina, if the NCAA doesn't come down on them for that, then they shouldn't hold teams accountable when they don't graduate players and penalize them for not graduating players in that 5-year window of opportunity. I mean, how is that not academics? If they let North Carolina skate by with that those classes up there, they didn't have to attend class. They did nothing. Mm-hmm. Now they're going to probably throw the women's basketball team under the bus.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they've already done that.
Yeah.
They're getting ready to throw it in reverse.
Yeah, they really have. That. I mean, from what I've read, and I don't claim to be an insider on this deal. I'm just going by what I read, the excellent coverage up there in the Raleigh newspaper in particular. They have really pointed at the women's basketball team as being the abuser of this program. But it all, I'm not going to say it all started, but I mean, one of the loudest mouths of this whole thing was Rashad McCants, one of their former players who kind of brought this thing to the public. And of course, he was, what did I read? He was trying to get $11 million between the NCAA and the university to settle or something. And a lot of people think he's crazy anyway, and that kind of weakens his accusations. But it's a mystery. It's a mystery to us all, A, why this has taken so long, and B, indeed, how can Roy, and if you heard the interview the other night, I mean, he said flatly to the interviewer, our basketball team, the men's basketball team, is not going to get hit by the NCAA, period. He has maintained that the entire time. Well,
he must have inside information from somebody with the NCAA.
He does. I think he says his law. He told a recruit. He tells recruits. I've seen it where they've said this, that his lawyers have told him, and he's telling recruits that the men's basketball program is not going to be penalized.
I don't see how that's possible with all the information that's come out of that place. And thank God for North Carolina State and those people up there for really staying on top of it. I'm a Clemson fan. Yeah. I will never pull for North Carolina. The only thing that would have made me pull for North Carolina last night was if they'd have been playing Kentucky, a team that's just a tad bit dirty in North Carolina, in my opinion.
Well, see, I'm of the other ilk that because Calipari is in Kentucky, he no longer has to be dirty because he's selling Kentucky. You go in, you play the 1 year and you go out.
How hard is it? How hard is it for these guys? But this should be, now here's the deal. The way this thing, there's been delays and all this. So now what they're waiting on in the next couple of weeks is for the NCAA's revised list of allegations. That's what they're waiting on. They're waiting for the NCAA to give them a revised list of allegations because North Carolina presented the NCAA recently, I say recently, could have been a couple of months ago, with some new information about the whole deal. So now there's going to be a revised list of allegations that North Carolina then will have upwards of, I think it's 90 days, upwards of 3 months to respond to. Then after that, a date will be set for North Carolina to go in front of the infractions committee. Then the case will be heard, and then it will take a couple of months for a decision to be rendered by the infractions committee. So you're still talking probably another 5 or 6 months at minimum before you get to a conclusion on this. And then there'll be an appeal. If there are harsh penalties, there'll be an appeal.
They're going to let it drag. And let me tell you something. You will pay a penance. They paid a penance last night. Because of this dragging, every time you get near that championship game, you will lose. I mean, it's just Providence is going to reach out because it didn't take the Southern Association long to say, look, University of North Carolina, is on academic probation, and one of the main reasons you are is because of this academics that's going on in the athletic department. So it didn't take them long to make that decision.
Correct.
So what is the NCAA waiting for?
Well, like I said, they got this new information from North Carolina, and it delayed the process on their end. But even then, it's been dragged out for, we're going on what here, 3-4 years?
We figured they were going to drag it so they win this championship this year. Well, didn't happen. And so they're going to try to drag it.
And of course, you can actually go back with North Carolina to their issues in the football program with the agents. That kind of started the whole mess they've had up there in recent years. All right, we'll be back. 800-956-7266. All right, back with you on Sports Talk. 800-956-7266 is our phone number. Hit a home run with Founders Federal Credit Union coming soon to Tigertown. Founders Clemson location will be open soon. For now, check out the 4 on-campus ATMs. Visit relaxjoinfounders.com to see if you qualify for membership. 800-956-7266 is the phone number. Coming up, coverage of USC football, plus some comments from Augusta. And Chip Weil will be along next hour to talk a little NASCAR with us. Also, we'll have Bill McDonald, USC golf coach. Let me tell you that the Hootie at Bulls Bay, USC wins it. This is always a terrific springboard into the end of spring golf season and postseason play upcoming. USC shot a 280 score today. They finished at 23 under. College of Charleston was next at 8 under. Auburn a third at 3 under. And then Wake Forest even par. Charleston Southern, which has been very good this spring, is in at +2 and finishes 5th. Then it's Missouri, Duke, Kansas, NC State, and Troy. USC's Keenan Husky is your medalist. Rounds of 65, 71, 69 to finish at 11 under. He wins by 6 shots over the College of Charleston's William Rainey. More on that coming up from Bill McDonald in our next hour. And we go back to your phone calls. It's, so you just can't just say it's him. You got to let me know in advance so psychologically I can be ready for this.
Okay.
This is not your normal caller because this is the de facto mayor of the city of Charleston, the bad boy by the bay, the ninja of the night, the pontiff of the port city, the queen of the cowboy crybabies, and the person who finished dead last over the weekend in the bridge walk. Dead last by several hours. They clocked him with a calendar. It's not Jim Rome. He's hanging out with Jim Everett. It is, unfortunately, Jay Rome.
Hey, Phil.
Yes,
hey,
Jerome.
Hey,
Yeah.
Phil. Hey, Tom.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
psychologically, you've never been ready for this. Okay?
You're right. You have to be at a certain level to communicate with you. I think that's why you're still banned on every radio station in the city of Charleston, are you not?
And it's a beautiful thing, by the way. Hey, those people aren't even, are they still on radio, Phil? I don't hear them. No one talks to them. Are they still, does that make them on radio, Phil?
Who is this? I couldn't understand you.
I said, the people you talk about that banned me, they're on the radio, but no one talks to them.
They're on the radio, and they're doing extremely well. Their ratings are through the roof. They're making millions and millions of dollars.
Oh, yeah.
And they're doing just fine.
Yeah, right. It's going to be huge. Yeah, okay. Hey, by the way, Phil.
Yes,
that guy that called you up and was talking about North Carolina. I'm glad that all that dirt is out for everyone to see, because the next time a Clemson player gets in trouble, and believe me, it will happen again. Okay, because it's happened before. That guy that called you and talked about North Carolina, he won't be calling you.
Well, it's different when you have a kid do something stupid on his own. You're talking about institutional stuff at North Carolina related to academics, which is, that's about as bad as it gets in terms of the NCAA. You start messing with the academics and forging grades and creating degrees out of whole cloth. It's that's where they kind of really sit up and take notice, supposedly.
Hey, I absolutely totally agree. This should be addressed in a serious way. But I got to tell you, we got a story here in Charleston about a South Carolina football player that sucker-punched tourists on King Street a couple years ago, and no one talks about it. No one knows what happened to that story. He sucker-punched the guy. The guy was from Greenville on King Street. I'm sure you've heard of King Street, Phil.
I have.
Put the guy in the hospital, and no one ever talks about it. The hostess of the sports talk show we have here, the little hostess, she never talks about it. The paper never talks about it. The police never talk about it. No one talks about it.
Was there an arrest?
Yeah, they showed him on television. That was like 2 years ago, and I haven't heard a thing about it since.
Well, who was the player?
He's an ex-player. He wasn't one of your more famous ones. But if I saw him again, I'd remember him. Well, I can't remember his name, so they buried the story so deep, no one can remember anything anymore.
All right, you dig it up and let me know who it is, and I'll see if I can find out more about it. Thank you, Jay Rome. We'll be right back. All right, let's give you the recruiting report tonight. Quarterback Jelani Woods of Ellenwood, Georgia, returning to USC Saturday for the spring game. He is one of USC's top targets for its second quarterback in the 2017 class, along with Jake Bentley. And he continues to hear a lot from Kurt Roper at USC, and they want him very badly. He's also hearing from Oklahoma State, FIU, and every once in a while from Michigan. He's going to Oklahoma State April 16th. Probably will visit Michigan in early June and FAU in the summer. He said a commitment is not far off, possibly after the Okie State visit. Top three, USC, Okie State, and Michigan in no order. Parents and brother will join him on the visit to USC. Defensive back Yusuf Corkhurst, Stockbridge, Georgia, was at Auburn Sunday, is visiting Tennessee today, USC Thursday, North Carolina and NC State Friday, and Duke on Saturday. Defensive end Josiah Coatney of Holmes Junior College in Mississippi took two officials last weekend, Ole Miss and Texas A&M. Said he had a good time on both. He's been to USC officially, Mississippi State unofficially. This weekend, he plans to see Florida and Alabama. Been looking at early May for his decision. Defensive back Jacoby Stevens of Murfreesboro, Tennessee, put out a top 7, and after saying last week that Clemson was high up on his list, the Tigers are not in his 7. The 7 are Georgia, LSU, Florida State, Florida, Tennessee, Southern Cal, and Oklahoma. USC last night offered defensive end Deontay Johnson of Sacramento. He's got about 40 offers. Last night, Clemson offered defensive back and receiver Jeffrey Okuda of Grand Prairie, Texas. Receiver Austin Connor of Dutch Fork was at Tennessee Saturday. Enjoyed it. Said they have a lot to offer, impressed by the coaches and the family feel there. He plans to visit Georgia Saturday and he's talking with USC about another visit there at some point. 2018 defensive lineman Robert Cooper of Snellville, Georgia, a top 5 of USC, Florida State, Missouri, Mississippi State, and Louisville in no order. Today, USC offered defensive end Matthew Butler of Garner, North Carolina. Cal and Columbia also offered him today. And defensive back Denaji Huzendove of Allendale Fairfax was offered by Georgia Southern for his first official offer of the spring. All right, there you go with recruiting. Don't forget to check it out regularly on our website, sportstalksc.com. On Twitter, use the hashtag STRecruiting. K-Mac hasn't been here, so I haven't been able to bring this up. But, the Celtics did beat the Lakers on Sunday. What are you smiling about back here, big boy? Oh, he's out there. I didn't know he was out there. Yes. And, I told K-Mac a long time ago when Kobe announced his retirement this year, I said, I predict that Kobe's last shot against the Celtics will be a brick. And sure enough, his last shot of his life, he will never take another shot against the Celtics. It was an absolute 100% unadulterated brick. And I cheered it all the way to the backboard.
Wow.
All right, top of the hour break, and we'll be back.
From Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
We are back, Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network, here on a beautiful spring Tuesday afternoon. Maybe a little chillier than we like it. But I bet you for those football players on the practice field at USC today, it was just dandy. K-Mac is now here in the studio, having just come back from the practice fields. First of all, how you feeling?
I'm feeling, day by day.
Yeah.
Better each day. I'm going to live, though, Corn, much to a lot of people's chagrin.
No, I'm happy. We don't need any more
I am not going to
tragedy
die.
here.
Yeah, that's some funk. That was not fun.
Yeah, you
that was not fun.
That thing knocked you around a little bit.
Knocked me around sideways.
Now, as far as the
Upside
Gamecocks are concerned, what's the news coming out of practice today that you heard?
News, not a lot of major news. Lorenzo Nunez was out there, but he did not participate in practice. So how much is he going to do between now and Saturday remains to be seen. If anything, we talked to T-Rob, and we'll hear from the Gamecock secondary coach. Everybody wants to hear what he has to say because his unit was thrown under the bus, backed over twice, picked up, thrown back under the bus again. I mean, Will Muschamp not pulling any punches about the secondary and where they have to go. So a lot of good stuff from T-Rob and Bryson Allen Williams, a guy that T-Rob's hoping has a big season. He hopes all those guys up front has a big season because a pass rush can cover a lot of ills in your secondary. And the Gamecocks have not had a pass rush of any significance since number 7 was on their defensive line.
Yep.
They've had a non-existent pass rush. And not even sacks, not disrupting the quarterback. They just have had no pass rush. They've had a secondary playing 10 yards off the ball, and you've seen the results. They're trying to fix that. But again, just to not belabor the point, but as Will Muschamp said, he kind of has figured out why the defensive backs are playing 15 yards on wide receivers. They don't know how to play press coverage.
Yeah.
And that was something that was discussed today. They are not comfortable playing press coverage. They're trying to get them comfortable playing press coverage. They're not making excuses, but you just can kind of see that the coaches realize, like, okay, we need to go out and recruit.
I find this to be kind of surprising because let's go back and think about like when Chris Lamons committed. Big hullabaloo over his commitment, right? When DJ Smith committed, big hullabaloo over his commitment. This doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me that they are struggling talent-wise in their secondary. And maybe one of their best players is a guy that was sort of kind of a late get was Rashad Fenton. He apparently is emerging as maybe their best. One
might be known for more than just a kickoff.
Here's the deal. I don't think it's talent. I think it's up here. You know why? Because when I see great secondaries, they're borderline get flagged on every play. They grab, they pull.
Well, they're physical.
But South Carolina's trying to play without being physical. You can't cover anybody that way anymore.
Well, I promise you, Will Muschamp's trying to get them physical out there.
Exactly.
I mean, they're trying to do it, but it's a complete shift in what they did and what they've been going through under the previous coaching staff.
All right, we'll hear from T-Rob and also from Bryson Allen Williams, also Jordan Spieth, and more coming up. Okay, we're back. Sports Talk. The South Carolina Forestry Commission wants to remind you that insects and diseases, they can be moved hundreds of miles in firewood and threaten our forests. Favorite campsites, neighborhoods, state, and national parks. Help protect the trees that you love by purchasing firewood at or near where you burn it. For more information, visit don'tmovefirewood.org. All right, K-Max with us. He was over at USC's practice today and heard from T-Rob and from Bryson Allen Williams on the defensive side. So lead us into,
Let's
I guess,
start
the T-Rob.
with Travaris Robinson, the defensive backs coach, and we heard Will Muschamp talk about the deficiencies in that area. So he had a chance to talk about the progress his unit has made and the progress it still needs to make.
We're getting better. Day by day, obviously, we're putting a lot of stuff, a lot of install every single day. Our kids are doing a good job of adjusting to the install. One thing we got to keep working on is our effort. That's one of the things that we kind of been hitting on all spring, and our guys are improving that. So if we continue to do that and we continue to get the scheme down, then we're going to be fine.
I know it's just spring, but Will was saying the other day about how the secondary really needs a lot of work. What do you guys have to do to get better, and how does that play into the pass rush?
We just got to focus on the details. That's one of the things: eye control, tackling from a physicality standpoint out on the perimeter, doing a decent job of covering. But we need to be tackling better. We need to get off blocks. We need to do those different things to make us successful. But just the details. If we take care of the little things, the big things will take care of themselves.
How do the players react when they hear Coach Muschamp say, "Hey, the secondary is light years away from being ready"?
Ain't nothing we tell you guys we don't tell them. They heard that every single day, and that's one thing we tell our kids: just know who you are. And right now, this is the standard that we have for you guys, and we ain't meeting it. So we got to continue to work upon that every day. And we ain't down on the guys. Ain't nothing like that. They understand what they need to do to get better. They watch the same tape we watch, and we correct it every single day, and that's what we're going to continue to do.
When you want to instill that toughness and get better tacklers, how do you approach that?
Well, from a physicality standpoint, it's practice. And we have a physical practice every single day. The practice is set up that way as far as perimeter drills outside where we doing one-on-ones with the receiver, or we going ball carriers and we getting off blocks and making tackles. So, the practice is set up for us to be physical. So the way we're doing things right now, we just got to continue to do that, and we got to embrace it. That's the one thing that we talk to our guys about: embracing the physicality of practice, embracing the physicality of the practice schedule.
How crucial will the pass rush be if the secondary does continue to struggle?
Well, I've been around a lot of secondaries, a lot of good ones, a lot of bad ones. And one thing I do know: pass rush can make up for everything. So we're going to continue to do that. We got to find rushers, and we're doing a good job identifying that, and we just got to continue on that track. And once we do that, we'll be fine. But from a secondary wise, we just need to work on our technique. And if we do that with eye control and playing the ball down the field and those different things, we'll be fine.
Will said the other day, with the big guys up front, doesn't want to play them more than 8 snaps in a row just to kind of keep them fresh. So how many guys would you prefer to have in rotation?
Well, we like to have 8 to 9 to 10 guys rotating, and we got to have those young guys coming in helping us. Kobe Smith is doing a really good job. Keir Thomas is doing a really good job fitting into what we're trying to do and trying to practice the way we're trying to practice. So if we continue on that track, we're going to have that. And, that's something that we always done. Them big guys, when they get out of gas, man. They don't get it back as quick as them little guys. So we got to keep those guys fresh. We got to do a great job of rotating and doing all those different things. But, in today's game with all the tempo, those guys got to be able to go play 10, 12 snaps sometimes. We can't get them out, So at the end of the day, those guys got to be in shape. And that's why you see them after practice doing all the different things with Coach Thompson. So we're going to be fine.
What's the biggest step forward you've kind of seen the cornerbacks as a group overall make?
You know what? They hadn't been much of a press team, and just working on our technique at press man-to-man, and we'll get better. It's something that you got to work on every single day. You come out to practice, you're going to see a lot of different drills that we do with the corners. It's the same exact drills every single day, and understanding that they have to be able to play bump and run in critical situations. But we'll do a lot of different things as far as two trapping and a lot of quarters coverage and all those different things as well. So just working on our techniques, but we are getting better. But we're still, like Coach Muschamp say, light years away from where we need to be for September 1st.
What does that buck position bring to the defense? I take it that's a position you and Will have had at other stops that you incorporated here.
Mm-hmm. Had some really good players at Bucks. That position right there is a premier pass rusher, a guy that can stand up, a guy that can put his hand in the ground, and we're still trying to find who exactly is that guy. We have some guys that we're really looking at that can be that dominant player. We just got to continue to work them and continue to build our schemes and get them implemented in that way.
Who are some notable Bucks you guys have had?
Notable Bucks that we had in the past. Dante Fowler will be one. Quentin Groves will be another. Sergio Kendall, when Will was at Texas, will be one. So we don't have some guys that was really good. So, we'll continue to evaluate our guys, and we'll find us someone that can get to the quarterback, that can put his hand in the ground and be able to play 6 technique or 5 technique. And we just got to continue to do that.
Who are some of the top candidates right now that they're showing you things?
Well, I'm gonna be honest. There's a lot of guys right now. Keir Thomas can do it. A guy like Bryson be able to go down there and do it a little bit. So we got some different guys that we're utilizing at that spot. But right now we want to be primarily probably 4 down. Not really doing any stand-up guys with those guys, and we just got to keep working on that. We're trying to instill our package, and we got to slow down and be able to do that.
You got several defensive linemen coming in, but in the secondary, I think it's just Jamarcus coming in. Do you feel like you've got the personnel for next year to be able to build a good enough secondary?
I better. Yeah, I mean, no one want to hear excuses. So we ain't going to talk about what we don't have. I'm not big into that. We're going to talk about the guys that we do have on campus, and we're going to get them better. And we're going to get them ready to play. So by September 1, it'll be on me to get them ready to play, and we'll definitely do that. So, I ain't making excuses about what we don't have around here. This is a great place. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited with the guys that we have. Obviously, we got to continue to build upon that, and we will. But right now, we're going to work with the guys that we got. We're going to work to get those guys better, and that's how we're going to go about our business.
T-Rob, I know you don't have Scott in the spring, but how much are you looking forward to getting him back on the field?
I like good players. So, obviously, Sky's a really good player. He's a talented young man. So, when he heal up and get ready to roll, it'd be a great addition to the deal. But our guys are doing a great job of playing around him. He's not out there right now. So those guys are doing a great job of playing and adjusting. So what that really does is give a lot of different guys reps that probably wouldn't got all the reps. So all they do is add depth to your program. And that's what it's going to be in our league. Obviously, man, tough games that we're going to have to play and tough games we're going to have to win. We got to have guys we got to have depth, so we kind of go by the motto, man down, man up. And right now we got a man up, and those guys in the linebacker crew, they're doing a good job of doing that.
To use your word earlier, embracing. Do you feel like all the guys are embracing what you're throwing at them?
Yeah, you know what? I really think they've done a great job of that. I mean, it's a lot different. And the way we coach and, the style of play that we have, I mean, it's a lot different than what they're used to. And but those kids are doing a great job of buying into Coach Muschamp and what we're trying to build in the program and that blue collar mentality. And that's one of the main things that Coach Muschamp talk about all the time. We want to be a blue collar outfit. We want to go out there every single day. We want to outwork our opponents, and my guys are trying to do that right now. Not all the way doing that like we would want them to do, but it is a step in the right direction.
All right, Travaris Robinson, USC defensive coordinator and secondary coach. Speaking in detail, in depth, and from the heart, not holding back in talking about his defense. One thing that Muschamp and his coaches, especially in talking about the defensive side guys, the approach they're taking is let's just be brutally honest and call it like it is. We got some issues back there. We're not going to try and cover it up and tell you, this is going to be a better defense here, better defense there. They have pointed out the areas of deficiencies that they are working to fix this spring, and they haven't backed away or tried to sugarcoat it when talking about particular positions, not necessarily individuals, but just position groups.
And his mentality. As I said before, when you watch LSU secondary play, receivers are usually looking half undressed after every snap.
But you're talking about great athletes that LSU typically – think of some of the guys they've had in their secondary who can go on an island with a receiver and say, come and beat me.
But here's the deal. Before they go on that island, they're grabbing. If you're an official, you could throw a flag on LSU's corners every snap. But they're not going to call that.
Why?
They're not going to call that.
Protecting LSU?
No. I'm saying there are things you can get away with that you have to do. South Carolina's playing like they're playing basketball. Can't put my hand on the guy. Why can't you? You redirect the guy. You have a hand on his hip.
You got to be close to him. I mean, the guy's usually running right by him or stopping in front of him.
Well, Hoke, let's face it, Hoke came in last year with an idea of running the form of the Tampa 2, and it just didn't fit the personnel, and he never really adjusted his thinking to the players that he had at his disposal, and they never got it fixed. We'll be right back. right, quick baseball update. USC's taking a 2-0 lead on Coastal Carolina, bottom of the first. Dom Thompson-Williams, RBI double. Jonah Bride, ground out, driving in a run. 2-0 USC. Clemson, Georgia, scoreless. Georgia does have runners on the corners with one man out. Bryson Allen Williams came out.
Bryson Allen Williams, he's a guy that could be one of those buck players of the Gamecocks that's going to play standing up or with a hand in the dirt. He's done a lot of different things in his first 2 years, and he's ready to do even bigger things now under Will Muschamp.
Coach Muschamp, he just came to me one day, said, asking guys what different things they can do. I told them, I could rush. They seen I rushed my freshman year, and I feel like I got a little bit better at it, over time. Even though I haven't been working at it, I just got a little bit faster. And, now it's all coming together. I'm able to, rush with speed again, have a lot of different moves I can use. Working with Coach Peterson, NFL guy, teach me different moves. So, it's a good experience, moving the buck. Well, I'm not moved there all the way. I still play diamond wood, but, just some packages I go down, play buck.
Bryson, Will was talking about the secondary yesterday and said it needs a lot of work. Right. So how crucial will a pass rush be this coming season?
That's the coaches. I can't talk about the secondary. Those my teammates. So to me, they're doing a good job. We all got something to work on. But just pass rush. We really ain't had a good pass rush since some big guys love clowning these guys. So it's all coming together now. We have a lot of good guys up front that's gonna help us. Be able to pass rush again, get back to that dominating level up front.
Is it as simple as maybe just saying, go blitz every down? Just try to put some pressure on those guys?
Like I said, I don't know. Coach Muschamp the coach, so whatever he feels like we have to do, we could play a 4-down, 3-down. It's just we got guys up front now that that can actually go get after the quarterback. So it doesn't. We don't have to blitz, but it's up to him. Whatever he decides to call, that's what we're gonna go out there and execute.
What's the biggest difference between a spring practice under Will Muschamp compared to the ones in the past?
The tempo. I say we don't stop. Once we start after stretch, is nonstop, and that's things that's gonna help us win. Not being tired in the fourth quarter, not being out of shape. We're gonna be. He tells us we're gonna be the best tempo defense in the country. So we're gonna spot the ball. We're gonna be able to line up. We're gonna have to line up fast in the offense, and that's gonna be our advantage. Playing fast again, being able to line up, giving the offense different looks before they can actually get to the ball.
What does that buck position bring to the defense that maybe wasn't there before?
It's just a guy that moves around a lot. It's a lot of different places that you can line up at buck, and a lot of different scenarios, situations that get set up for you.
Okay, Bryson Allen Williams finding a home with the Gamecocks, mostly at linebacker, maybe a little bit at that buck position. And, he's a talented player. He just has not been able to show what he can do in his 2 years at South Carolina. Hard to believe he's going to be a junior. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, they kind of burned that first year and doesn't have that he lost that year instead of redshirting. Could have really used maybe a redshirt year, but they needed him. They were short on people.
He's playing defensive end as a freshman.
Yeah,
that's how bad it's gotten for them.
Why did I think that the guy ideal for the buck in my position, because of his size, is Boosie Whitlow?
Well, he's going to play buck.
He's
a candidate.
Think they've got him out there playing buck.
That to me is the guy.
Mm-hmm. He's a very good pass rusher for his size, as we saw last year. All right, we'll be right back.
We want information. Information. Information.
All right, Sports Talk brought to you by the South Carolina Commission on Higher Education. Find out how you can get help paying for college at one of 42 events this month. Go to sccango.org, sccango.org. Going to talk some racing in just a couple of moments, but you know what? Masters Week in Augusta, couple of days of practice behind some of the world's best golfers, 89 set to tee it up on Thursday morning. Defending champion Jordan Spieth today went before the media, as the top golfers do leading up to the opening round, to talk about, of course, what it's like to be the defending Masters champion and coming back to Augusta 1 year after playing some great golf last year.
It's great being back here. I've had a fantastic couple days thus far preparing, and game feels great. Going to try and just use last year as momentum. We know we're capable of playing this place. We've proven it to ourselves the last 2 years. So the focus is on this week, and we feel as confident as probably ever leading into at least on Tuesday. So game actually feels better right now than I think it did last year on Tuesday. So that's good if we can keep it consistent.
Questions? Doug?
What's your stress like this year compared to this time a year ago?
Probably similar. A year ago I put, pretty high expectations on this week, given I'd come off 2 runner-up finishes. I knew I was in form, and I had that, close call in 2014. So it was all kind of set up for to at least contend. But at the same time, you can say that and you can be in form, but to still go out there and do it is another thing. And so the stress was there, but also the confidence was there. I think that it's the same this year. I mean, we've already done it, so it's not like it's something that it's not like I'm chasing my first major. We have 2 major championships now, so it's we feel like there's an advantage if we can get into contention, against those who are searching for their first. We know how difficult that was to sleep on and sleep on leads and in contention in major championships. We haven't capitalized. So I would say it's pretty similar to last year. Sure, I'm putting pressure on myself to contend this year, just like last year, and I feel like I'm in form as well. But it's also it's going to be a lot of fun walking these fairways, reliving those memories with the crowds and the roars, the echoes.
Yeah, both Jason Day and Rory have talked about the tendency to overthink. And when there's so much on the line, winning here, and the nuances of balancing and handling that, how do you manage to avoid that tendency to overthink?
I think 2014, it was nice. We came under the radar. I had missed the cut in Houston, and this was my first Masters. I was just trying to have a great experience. I knew that I could beat the guys we were playing against, because I had been successful on tour for a year and a half up to that point. But I hadn't really gotten anywhere near close in a major. So for me, it was just, let's go ahead and play what I considered my favorite course in the world and have fun playing in the Masters. And then with everything that happened in 2014, I knew we could do it again and improve on it. So I think I was lucky that the first try, I wasn't trying as hard. And I think from there, now I can just, I can kind of just go back to the past couple of years and draw off of that. Now, I'm not, I hope I get off to a good start. If I don't, then I'm going to have to reach down deep and really stay patient and let birdies come to me. I think recently I've been trying very, very hard to almost too passionate just to make birdies wherever I'm at, try and get on these runs like I did early Sunday in Houston. And on this type of golf course, that's easy to do as well. You play these par 5s and you think, wow, these the winners from the previous whatever years have all played these par fives so well. I just parred my first 3 par fives. Why I'm losing strokes? Well, that's something that's easy to think about here, but you let them come to you, let the birdies come to you. I just think that this place brings that kind of mentality into me and Michael, and I don't know why, but it just does, and I'm very pleased that it does.
All right, there you go, Jordan Spieth from Augusta today. We welcome in Chip Weil, the president of Darlington Raceway. What kind of stock car driver do you think Jordan Spieth would be?
Man, Jordan Spieth is an animal. He's fun to watch. If you're a golf fan, I remember when Tiger Woods came on the scene kind of when I was 18, 19, 20 years old. It was fun to watch. I feel like golf's in a really good spot right now with Jordan Spieth and a number of those young guys that are coming up through the ranks. It's fun to watch on Sunday afternoon.
That's kind of like NASCAR right now. You got a bunch of young drivers kind of pushing some of the older guys, and Kyle Busch, he finally breaks through in a Sprint Cup car with a win at Martinsville after winning the truck race. So a great weekend for him and that team. How'd you like the way this one played out? I mean, he dominated laps led, yet he had to have a really good restart at the end to pull away to the victory.
Yeah, he had a good week. It's amazing that Kyle Busch has never seen victory lane at Martinsville until this weekend. He's dominated both in the trucks and the Cup car. Just never seemed to figure it out and have a late race opportunity. Martinsville's a very unique racetrack, and you can have the fastest car all day, but a bad pit stop or coming out second or fourth or sixth on the last stop is going to put you on the outside. And we saw what happened on Sunday. That's not good. So Kyle had a really, really strong car, had great pit stops, and was able to keep that inside position and get the victory.
All right, so 6 races in. We've had 5 different drivers. We go to Texas where, most anything can happen this weekend. Who do you think of the winless will be the next one to get a win?
Well, I think Kurt Busch is certainly somebody I have circled for this weekend. He loves Texas. He loves the speed. Obviously, Stewart-Haas Racing has had a lot of success with Kevin Harvick, and they seem to have this low downforce package figured out. So if I'm looking at the list of guys who haven't won yet, he'd be pretty close to the top.
That sounds like a good, safe pick. What's happening over at your place?
Man, we got our first Turn 3 theater. So one of the things we really focus a lot of effort on is doing things for our community. So Friday night, we're going to have our first Turn 3 theater of the year. It's a free outdoor movie experience for the family. We're going to show Aladdin. So we're going to open the gates of the Hospitality Village right outside of Turn 3 at 6 o'clock, and we'll fire up the movie about 8, give away free popcorn. Kids come out, and we have a really mean game of kickball. It's a great night to get at the Darlington Raceway. And again, it's all free and stuff we really enjoy doing for the community.
That sounds good. Now, as it grows darker, how sharper does the picture become on the big screen? And how big is your big screen?
It's a 40-foot by 60-foot inflatable screen, so it's really big. And it's amazing, when the sun's setting, you really can't see anything. As soon as it gets dark, it's a picture perfect. It's a picture perfect night. It's fun. These are the things that we do, Phil, a lot, just to ingrain ourselves into our local Darlington community. And it really has paid dividends. We're really proud of the progress we've been able to make with our local community, and things like this make a big difference.
Yeah, and of course, you're trying to get more use out of the track, keep it active as much as possible throughout the year. Kind of like, Bristol. I think this is the year Bristol's hosting the football game, right?
They are. They are, in fact, hosting the football game. Yeah, and we're all looking for content, different things we can utilize the facilities for. And so, this is a good start. We're hosting our 4th of July festival again, and we're going to be doing a marathon at the end of this month. So a lot of activity out at the racetrack. It's an exciting time.
Hey, sounds good. We'll keep in touch. Look for you next week to talk about Texas. And always, thank you for visiting with us.
Thanks, Phil. Have a good night, my man.
You too, my friend. Chip Weil, president of Darlington. So after 6 races, Kevin Harvick leads the points chase by 4 over Jimmy Johnson. Kyle Busch is 3rd. Then it's Carl Edwards, Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski, Austin Dillon, Kurt Busch, Denny Hamlin, and Dale Jr., who blocks us. He is 10th in the standings at this point. And they're headed to Texas this weekend. We still don't know why Dale Jr. blocks us. It's probably because of K-Mac, something
Sure.
he said.
He doesn't block my Twitter feed.
Coming up in a moment, USC golf coach Bill McDonald, a South Carolina Forestry Commission reminds you that insects and diseases can be moved hundreds of miles in firewood, and they can threaten forests and campsites, neighborhoods, state and national parks, golf courses, greens. Yes, let's protect those golf courses. Let's protect those trees. Be sure you purchase your firewood at or near where you burn it. For more information, visit don'tmovefirewood.org. One little recruiting note we've come up with tonight. Been informed that tonight Clemson offered defensive end Tyreek Johnson from Lakewood, who just committed to USC on Saturday. And that's his third offer, along with USC and Coastal. But right now he is committed to the Gamecocks. All right, big day, big couple of days for the USC men's golf team as they go down to Bulls Bay and they win one of the top collegiate golf tournaments in this area in the spring, the Hootie at Bulls Bay. USC coach Bill McDonald with us. Good evening, sir. Congratulations.
Hey, thank you, Phil, very much. It was a great win for us.
23 under par at that place. I got to imagine it was plenty windy and plenty chilly out there. Are you happy with that score?
Oh, I'm thrilled. I mean, it was such a good play. I mean, we had all 5 of our guys in the top 10, and Keenan Husky won the medalist title. We really did have some wind, and thank God. I mean, the no-see-ums came out yesterday morning when the wind shut off, and we were praying for wind, but not quite 20 to 30 miles an hour like we had today at times. It was pretty difficult out there.
Tell us about Keenan Husky's 3 rounds, 65, 71, 69.
Yeah, he just he looked so good that first day on Sunday. And I told my assistant, Alex Hamilton, I said, I think this golf course really fits him. He's a sophomore, didn't play last year. And he's just, you could just tell he was really dialed in and focused. And he's, he won our state am by 9 shots last summer. He's not afraid of handling the lead. He's one of those kids that just seems like when he gets in contention, he's ready for it. So, that combined with, I've obviously got some good seniors, and Scott Stevens had a top 10 as well, one of my freshmen. So couldn't be happier and really excited about how we look going into SEC.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you, does this bode well for you moving forward into postseason play here right around the corner?
Oh, yeah, I think it does. I mean, we've gotten on a little bit of a hot streak here where we've won 3 out of our last 4 events. And even the 5th place finish we had at the Valspar was against one of the best fields in college golf all year. So I think the last month has been really productive for us. I think we've seen a lot of windy, tough conditions, which we could possibly see at SEC. I think we've also been in a position a few times where it wasn't very windy and we had to make a lot of birdies and take advantage of the conditions, and they seem to have responded like that as well. So yeah, but it's the SEC. I mean, there's a lot of other good teams, obviously, that are on a good streak as well, but I think we're looking really good.
All right, what about Matt Neesmith? And he finished 1 under for this tournament. How do you feel about his play this spring? And do you expect him to really elevate the game now as you hit the real important part of the year?
Yeah, he's had an incredible spring. My 3 seniors, Sean Kelly, Matt Neesmith, and Will Stark, all 3 went down and did the Canadian Tour qualifying school this past week and didn't get back into Charleston until about midnight Saturday night. They had some weather issues down there, so they didn't get any practice rounds. They drove about 8 or 9 hours after playing 4 straight rounds and pretty heavy humidity. And so they were really on dead legs. I mean, I felt bad for them. I was a nervous wreck Saturday when they were still finishing up their play on there. Matt just didn't look like his normal sharp self, but still was able to finish in the top 10. And Will Stark was the same way. So I think it would give them a few days rest, and they'll be fine.
All right. Let me ask you quickly. Clemson recently, men's and women's, they hosted their tournament up there in the mountains, and sort of one of the first times, I guess, we've had a team hosting an event like that that's their own. I'm wondering if you've talked to Larry Penley and what kind of feedback you got from him about those events.
I haven't had a chance to talk to them. I know that they were excited about it. We saw them down at the Valspar, and it was the first year of it, obviously, and seemed like a neat event and a great venue for it.
Does that put the bug in your mind about maybe trying to do the same thing? Can you do the same thing?
Yeah, you can. It takes a lot of it just takes a lot of logistics and planning to start a golf tournament, period, especially just doing one on the men's side. I mean, much less doing something combined with the women. So I'm sure that support staff and all, they had everybody all on board, make sure that went well.
Yeah. All right, Coach, congratulations. Great win at the Hootie. We'll be talking to you going into the SEC and beyond. Thanks for the time.
Okay, Phil, thank you.
Always good talking to you. Bill McDonald, USC golf coach, back in a moment. Hey, relax on and off the field with Founders Federal Credit Union, located in the heart of Gamecock Country. Founders Russell House location, available to help you with all your financial needs. Visit RelaxJoinFounders.com to see if you qualify for membership. All right, first of all, baseball, we've got USC 2-0 over Coastal. They're in the top of the fourth inning. And Widener on the mound for USC. And so far, he's gone 3 2/3, allowed just 1 hit, 5 strikeouts. Clemson, Georgia. Clemson up 2-0 now. Tigers scoring 2 runs in the top of the second inning. And they have taken a 2-0 lead on Georgia. Who got the runs home? Well, you know what? That man Beer, he'll get you home one way or another. Bases loaded, hit by pitch.
Beer is good.
Gets him an RBI, and then Bryant with an RBI single, 2-0 Tigers. All right, now that the tournament is over, we take a look at our brackets, and congratulations to Rube Man. Whoever you are, congratulations, you have won the Sports Talk bracket in the Tournament Challenge. You finish at 98.6% with 1,190 total points. You did not pick the champion, however. Finishing second, my. Look at him. Larkin Belton, 97.7%, 1,110 points. You, sir, did not pick the champion. Finishing third was Repar at 97%, 1,060 points. He
The
did
former
pick,
Gamecock mascot?
could
Fish?
be.
He's alive?
He did pick Villanova. He's the only one in our group to pick Villanova.
Oh, okay.
K-Mac, you finished a poor fourth. And
North Carolina
94.7.
screwed me. They cost me actually in another pool I was in.
980 points. And coming in sixth, Corn is king of all time with 90%, 920 points. And there you go. Pro, you did not enter a bracket, did you?
No, I boycotted.
Yeah.
98.6. That's usually your temperature.
Yes. Well, this guy was hot.
8.6.
Rube Man, contact us and we'll tell you what you did not win by winning the tournament challenge. Very quickly, you know, I'm hesitant to do this, but let's go to Cockett. If he can get his Pro, put your headset on. Cockett, you got about 45 seconds. You got less than 45 seconds now, Cockett. Cockett going once.
Oh, bye.
Cockett left us a long time ago, I'm afraid.
Cockett shot us off. I'm looking at one of your best things I've ever seen, Corn.
What's that?
The Oklahoma drill.
You mean with the quarterback? All right, that'll do it. Thank you for being with us. And we'll have a bunch more good stuff for you Wednesday, par 3 day at Augusta. More coverage from Augusta. Clemson will be practicing tomorrow. We'll have that covered for you. And a whole bunch more. Thank you, K-Mac, Crow, and Larkin. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow night right here on Sports Talk.